Welcome back, guys, and do I have a video for you? And it's all about this gold mining town in WA, around 600 kilometers away from Perth. And I'm pretty sure all of you who are into property investing for more than a month will know what this area is, what this location is. It is Kalgoorlie. I don't even know if I'm saying the name right, but it is a gold mining location. And right now it is making waves in the property investing community. And it is my job to keep you guys informed. And so a huge disclaimer before I even go to any depth of this video. Personally, for me, I have said in countless videos in the past, and I will always stick by it. I don't invest in mining towns. I don't invest in single economy towns because there is just inherent risk if something was to happen to that industry. Now, of course, this is gold mining, and gold mining, well, everyone loves gold and everyone needs gold. It underpins our economy. And Kalgoorlie does have one of the largest, I believe, in the world, largest gold mining pits called the Super Pit, but I'll get onto that a bit later. But why am I talking about this location that I've said in countless videos that I would not invest into? Well, there's good reason for it. And that is because it is making waves in the property market at the moment. There is capital growth happening right at this very instant in Kalgoorlie, and it is one of the towns where you can almost get a positively geared property off the bat if you have the right interest rate and deposit. And it's a location where you can get 8% plus yields, which is absolutely insane in today's economy. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One of them being it is very cheap in terms of prices. A lot of them have high incomes, and I'll get onto that as well. And when you start to scroll down, you can see that over the past year, it's had about 7% increase, and over the past 3 years about 16%. So not a whole lot of growth during that Perth boom, but right now when I've talked to agents on the ground, it is making waves. And you can see rents have risen about 5% or about 4.4%, which is really good to see. But when you look at the socioeconomics, it starts to paint a little bit more of a picture. It's got a high ersat score of 5, which is a bit unusual for a regional town, a regional mining town, but it does have a rented to owner occupier ratio of 45%. So that tells you right off the bat that there are a lot of renters in this area. It is a location where people prefer to work, rent, and then leave, not necessarily live here permanently, which kind of makes sense being a mining town. But the crazy thing about this location in Kalgoorlie is that the affordability index has property prices at 14 years, which means that properties are extremely affordable, which when you think about it actually makes a lot of sense because the people who work in mining towns are usually FIFO workers on very, very high incomes, which makes it very easy for them to afford a property in the location, or whether it's to rent out that property, it is extremely cheap for them. And so the affordability index is very, very low, or very high rather. It's very affordable. And when you look at the stock on market, it doesn't look like it's dropping, but when I show you the real estate page, you will see that almost everything is under offer. Data does lag, and days on market is also starting to pick up, and properties are going under offer pretty quickly. Vacancy rates are very low at 1.28%, which is very good to see, which means that the rental market is very tight. Should be easy to increase rents and keep a tenant happy in your location. Awesome. And it's not just hashtag where you can see this data. If you look at SQM research and you look at the property prices, you can see over the past 12 months a 4.5% increase. But what's more interesting to see is the stock on market levels. You can see it has been dropping since about 2022, but the decline, or it's accelerating over the past couple of months with less and less stock coming on the market, which is only going to add more pressure into this market, which causes house prices to increase. And if investors come on board and continue to fuel the market, this will further accelerate that capital growth in that area. And if the map visual is not enough, all you have to do is look into research of Kalgoorlie, and you will see that it is predominantly, in terms of regional exports, 79.7% comes from mining, which is going to be gold mining, and some from partly manufacturing. And it has an economic output of about $15.1 billion and a very stable population around 30,000, 31,000 odd people in that area. Now, this video isn't about talking about the location's economy or whether or not it's a good place to invest for the long term 10 plus years, because I personally wouldn't. I don't think most people would. I feel like it's along the same lines of another Darwin, where you take your money, you put it in, you invest for the short term, and then you pull it out after 1, 2, 3 years after you get the capital growth. Now, it is a risky strategy, but for some investors out there, this may make sense for you. And the reason that you want to look at this location, if you wanted to, despite everything that I've talked about so far in terms of its economy, is when you look at the property prices. So recently properties have been selling, and I have a great example for you. You can see 4x2s are selling for $580, one for $533, $525. But if I was to look at Kalgoorlie and I think about what sort of money or what sort of budget I'd be looking to spend in this area, I would try to find a pretty cheap sort of asset. And I came across this house that was sold in July, which is a perfect example of an asset that you could possibly look at, which is this one here, 2 Morgan Loop Boulder, which was sold on the 18th of July, so about a month now whenever I release this video, I'm not too sure. $385,000 $65,000. A nice sort of brick house, a decent interior, nothing special. It will do the job. It is a good sort of property in Boulder of Kalgoorlie, which is just a nearby suburb, which you can see right about here. Now, what's really interesting about buying a house like this is when you look at the rental prices, and you can see another 3x1, which is similar here in terms of property, in terms of the look of itself, is renting for around $600 per week. Now, let's put that into our property portfolio summary sheet. 385, stamp duty is about 13 grand on that. Say you go with a 20% deposit, you'll have no LMI, and so you need about $96,000 to invest into this location. At $600 rent, your rental yield is about 8.1%. So right off the bat, you will likely be positively geared, which in this day and age and in this economy is absolutely crazy. And say you went with a 12% deposit, for example, and you did have LMI, you still only need about $66,000 to buy an asset like that. And you're only negatively geared by $156 per month before your tax refund, which once again, after a couple of rent rises, will be even better. You will get positively geared very, very quickly. Now, this is assuming you have like a 7% interest rate. If you have slightly higher, of course, it'll be slightly worse, etc., etc., etc. The fine numbers will look very different. However, when you take and compare this against another asset in Melbourne or Queensland or New South Wales, you're going to be much more negatively geared. So this is why opportunities like Kalgoorlie or these mining towns across Queensland and other parts of WA seem very, very lucrative. And when you still simply look at the stock levels, you can see basically everything is starting to be under offer. And this is the feedback I'm getting from community members and from other people on the ground in terms of sales agents saying that properties are being sold pretty quickly, that there is an increasing number of interest in this location as a place of investment. But please take this with a grain of salt, because despite it being positively geared or close to positively geared off the bat, investing long term in a mining town is risky. All you have to do is just look at the history of this location, and it has gone through ebbs and flows. From 2010 to around 2014, it did nothing. And then from 2015 to 2020, it went down. So people who held during that time have lost money, and now it's possibly started another cycle. So there is definitely risk when purchasing in locations like this. I personally don't recommend it. It might fit your strategy, but you have to take care and make sure you are aware of the risks of purchasing in a place like this. But my job is simple. My job is to inform you guys and keep you guys informed about locations that are rising in value, to make sure that you aren't kept out of the loop, that you know what is happening. And in Kalgoorlie, there is activity happening there, so you may wish to do further due diligence in that area. And like always, guys, make sure you jump into the private community. It is an absolute steal at $35 a month. We talk about different locations every single day. You have access to exclusive content. You'll have access to deal vetting. You'll have access to personalized mentorship one-on-one with me. And you have a 30-day money-back guarantee. So you have absolutely nothing to lose. Guys, jump in. We will help you out. You will be a fool not to be part of the private community. Till next time, thank you very much.